Welcome to Rebecca's Reading Room. I'm your host, Rebecca Budd, and I am thrilled that you joined me today. I would like to share a poem that arrives not quietly, but on horseback, swift, daring, and filled with the pulse of another age. Lochinvar is a narrative poem written by Sir Walter Scott, and it forms part of his larger work, Marmion, published in 1808. Within that epic poem, Lochinvar appears as a kind of lyrical jewel, a story within a story, drawn from the traditions of the Scottish border ballads. It tells of a young nobleman who rides uninvited into a wedding, not as a guest, but as a man determined to reclaim the woman he loves. There is boldness here. There is risk, a kind of unquestioned courage where action rises before hesitation. Lochinvar is not only about romance or adventure. It carries the rhythm of oral storytelling, the kind that would have been spoken aloud, remembered, and passed from voice to voice. It belongs as much to the ear as it does to the page. And perhaps that is why today's reading feels so fitting. What you are about to hear is a recitation by Paul Andruss, a writer, a poet, and a dear friend of mine. Someone who understands how language lives not only in meaning, but in sound and presence. This recitation brings Lochinvar back into the realm it was always meant to inhabit. Spoken, heard, and felt. And so, before we begin, I invite you to listen as a companion to the story, to hear the hoofbeats, to feel the urgency, and to follow where the poem leads.
Lochinvar by Sir Walter Scott. O young Lochinvar is come out of the west. Through all the wide border his steed was the best, and save his good broadsword he weapons had none. He rode all unarmed, and he rode all alone. So faithful in love, and so dauntless in war, there never was a knight like the young Lochinvar. He stayed not for brake, and he stopped not for stone. He swam the Esk River where ford there was none. But ere he alighted at Netherby gate, the bride had consented, the gallant came late. For a laggard in love and a dastard in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. So boldly he entered the Netherby hall, amongst bridesmen and kingsmen, and brothers and all. Then spoke the bride's father, his hand on his sword. Poor craven bridegroom said never a word. O come ye in peace here, or come ye in war, or to dance as our bridal, young Lord Lochinvar? I long wooed your daughter, my suit you denied. Love swells like the Solway, but ebbs like its tide. And now I am come with this lost love of mine, to lead but one measure, drink one cup of wine. There are maidens in Scotland more lovely by far, who would gladly be bride to the young Lochinvar. The bride kissed the goblet. The knight took it up. He quaffed down the wine and he threw down the cup. She looked down to blush and she looked up to sigh, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. He took her soft hand, her mother could bar. Now tread we a measure, said young Lochinvar. So stately his form and so lovely her face, that never a hall such a galliard did grace. While her mother did fret and her father did fume, and the bridegroom stood dangling his bonnet and plume, and the bride maidens whispered, "'Twere better by far to have matched our fair cousin to the young Lochinvar." And one word in her ear, and they reached the hall door, and the charger stood near. So light to the croup the fair lady he swung, so light to the saddle before her he sprung. She has won, we are gone, over bank, bush and scar, and her fleet steeds that follow, with young Lochinvar. Those mounting monks Grahames of the Netherby clan, Forsters, Fenwicks and Musgraves, they rode and they ran. There was racing and chasing on Canterbury Lee, but the lost bride of Netherby ne'er did they see. So daring in love and so dauntless in war. Have you e'er heard a gallant like young Lochinvar?
Perhaps this is why we return to stories like Lochinvar, why we look back across centuries, gathering voices from another time and bring them into our present moment. It is not only for the story itself, but for what travels within it. Love, courage, risk, endurance. These are not bound by history. They are the arc of our humanity, carried forward in poems, in voices, in memory. And so we let the story ride on. And when we listen, truly listen, we recognize something familiar, not distant, not ancient, carrying a little of its courage, quietly alive within us still. Thank you for joining me. This is Rebecca, and this is Rebecca's Reading Room.